Welcome back, listeners, to Cosmic Confluence, where we explore the unseen forces shaping our lives, the deeper wisdom of existence, and the limitless possibilities available to us when we break free from conditioned realities. As always, I'm your host, Sana, and today we are venturing into a topic that is as profound and interesting as it is essential: life, death, and the illusion of the matrix. Now, just imagine, listeners, what if life on Earth is not just a random experience, but a transitional learning phase for the soul? What if the reality we see is only a tiny fragment of what truly exists? And how do we break free from the subconscious limitations that keep us trapped in fear, scarcity, and suffering? To help me unravel these mysteries, I am joined by an incredible guest, Kanika Vasudeva, an energy and consciousness coach who helps people break free from trauma, grief, and emotional baggage. Now, listeners, a bit about her journey. Her journey is deeply personal. After the devastating loss of her daughter, she discovered the profound power of energy healing, not just as a coping mechanism, but also as a way to clear grief at an energetic level, transforming her life from the inside out. So, with that, Kanika, I'm so honored to have you here today and welcome to Cosmic Confluence.
Thanks a lot, Sana. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Beautiful, beautiful, Kanika. So when we talk about life and death, so generally, I mean, just irrespective of the cultures or what religions or generations have taught us, that you are in the physical form on this earth, and whatever is happening right now to you or for you is whatever you are doing. It's according to your deeds. As you sow shall you reap. So that's it, it's this life form. But many cultures, I think we were discussing that yesterday also, that we talk about the cycle of life and death. Like in Hinduism, we talk about Sat Janam, like, seven times you'll be born. And you'll be born in different forms, maybe, or probably in some other different uh, being. So, what exactly do you have to say about this life and death and the matrix?
Thank you. Great question. Um, and I think this is what my daughter came to really teach me as well. So at first, when I did not have her,
Mhm.
um, that started the journey for me. And I
Mhm.
really had to look beyond life. I really had to believe that I was very much a skeptic, like most listeners would be. We get conditioned like that. I'm an engineer, an MBA professional by background.
Mhm.
So, really, if something isn't very clearly visible, it's hard for me to understand. Or maybe I can say that it was hard for me to understand. But that time, when I lost her, I really wanted to connect.
Mhm.
Uh, And I do believe in past lives. I've been raised like that, but I also really wanted to connect with my daughter because I wanted to go like, hey, how are you? And I wanted to say I love you because she was a stillborn. So I only got her in the womb. And I think when I had her,
Mhm.
because I also had my child, so she would have been my second child.
Yeah.
I was just very busy. I was so busy preparing for her arrival. I was so busy looking after my 2-year old at the time, running around my business, doing all the house things and so on, that I did not take time to just sit down with her. So when I lost her, partly amongst all the other emotions I had, one of the very strong emotions also was that I wanted to connect with her and I wanted to say, hey, I love you. And I really wanted to get a feeling there that she understood that, she knew that. And I also wanted to make sure that she was okay.
Mm.
that she was okay in her afterlife. So I think that's the time when my journey there happened. I found some teachers, so they taught me some lessons which I now share with my clients and students. And when I could finally tune in with my daughter, it was literally like just having a conversation, but not having a conversation as in you and I. We can hear each other, we can see each other if we've got the camera on or if we are sitting together. Um, but it's a different thing with spirit, but it definitely exists. Now, there are lots and lots of things that I'll ask people to just explore. You can be totally skeptical, that's okay. You don't have to believe, but consider a few things and then make up your own mind. At that point in time when I'd lost her, and sometimes grief would really take over me. And so I would just write. And sometimes when I would write a letter to her and I would say, hey, like I love you and I wish you the best. Because by this time I had no way of communicating with her. And then there would be other times where I would just start all the time with, this is so hard. I cannot do this. I would almost be crying out in the letter. That's how I would start it from such a very sad, depressed place. But I would never be able to finish it like that. By the end, I would have always felt better. I would have always felt like, it's okay. I know what you're doing and you had to cross over. I wish you the best and I'm going to be okay. I strongly believe that that whole time was because she was with me. And I'm asking other people as well who've either lost people. There are times where you felt like, oh, we heard or we felt some energy. We heard a music that they were playing. Those stories are very, very common across all countries, across all people. Of course, we all have rituals across all the countries as well, varying manners in which we talk to ancestors. So this idea that, hey, we are just a physical being, this is all that life is, and there's nothing beyond that. To me, I think we're missing the whole piece when we look at it like that. How I'm understanding in my conversations with the spirit world is that this life is one life amongst the many, many lives that you live. In this life, I've picked up and I am Kanika. You're talking to me like this. I have a female body, for example, and I look with these dark black hair and my height and so on. But there would be so many other lifetimes where I've had different shapes and so on, uh, even other forms. And that's because my soul, as a soul, I want to understand and experience all of that. So sometimes, as when I've explored my past lives, sometimes I've been a woman, sometimes I've seen myself as a man, I've even seen myself as a horse. But doing different things, and each of them has different purpose of learning something. I think you mentioned one thing that, we do the things here, and so we get sown or we get shown whatever we did and we get something back because of that. I think partly that our soul comes in very much understanding that this is what it wants to learn. So it's not that my life is better or worse or my previous lives were like um it's not that our gradual lives, let's say if we put it on a timeline, because in general they're all happening. There's a very illusionary concept of time. But let's say my lives before 400 years ago or 500 years ago, it's not that they were less than this lifetime. It's just that by this lifetime, my higher self has a lot more understanding of of different things, because in one life, for example, I wanted to learn a lot around love. And then in the other lives, I've wanted to learn other chapters of love. So, as much as I'm learning and progressing in one direction, then there might be other areas where, for example, in terms of money or making money on my own compared to making money in the business world, that might be different. So, we just have different chapters. It's not uh, like some life is less, this life is more. It's not that. We're just literally exploring different things. So we tend to think that, oh, I'm getting punished because of this. And I would say it's not that. A lot of our life is our creation as a soul. That's what we wanted. So a lot of it is in our um, in our creation, whatever we want. We work with a higher self. Higher self has an agenda, and sometimes the higher self will say, "Okay, you have learned your lesson, so we'll sort of move forward." And other times, the higher self will say, "Well, so for example, if my mission in this lifetime is to serve out, is to go to people, and is to help people deal with their own traumas, I can't really say, well, no, I'm not doing this because my higher self really understands that's my purpose for this lifetime. So there's that bit where there's a little bit of the agency that our higher self holds as to what do we want to do, and they'll keep nudging us in that direction. That's why a lot of people will say that I had no idea. I never wanted to do this, but it just came to me. And, this is my purpose. This is what I have to do. This is where the higher self comes in. So that's a higher self playing in. But by and large, let's say 80% of our life is what we create, is where I have a full choice on what will happen in my life, and I'm unconsciously or consciously creating. And then there are little points, I would say, which are destiny points, which we just have to do because that's the next step for us.
What we're destined to do.
Yes, yes.
And you mentioned about higher self, and uh, I have had so many conversations, in fact, yesterday also, about how intuition can play a significant role in our personal and professional lives. Sometimes in professional life also, when we work in a certain environment, we feel like, this is not, I'm not supposed to do this. Maybe the tangible conditions or the circumstances have kind of not exactly forced, but I am doing this, but I'm not supposed to do this. So sometimes that intuition can play such a significant role in taking impactful decisions or deciding the course of your life. So I think the higher self, our soul, has a lot to do with that. And of course, uh, in so many discussions I have got to know that our soul travels across has traveled across different lifetimes, universes, dimensions, and it has taken so many forms, as you mentioned about, sometimes as a woman or a man or even a horse. So I think our soul has all this cosmic data with them, that that is subconsciously there, but it's really really difficult to tap into that, and somebody who does that, I think that's the enlightenment.
Well, I think it's not actually difficult at all.
Okay, okay.
In reality, it's just super, super easy. It's just that we get in the way, and we get in the way because of how we are conditioned. Um, if you look at kids, they know what they want to do. Like you take a toy away from them, and a 2-year-old or 3-year-old will scream the hell out till you've not given it back to them. As we grow up for various reasons, we're trying to please others. We feel that we need to fit in. Different things come into play. And that innate sense of this is who I am, this is what I want, that starts getting lost. Okay, maybe I'll just take a step back and actually explain what a higher self is.
Oh, yeah, please.
So, how I view this is my lifetime, and I've had like lots of lifetimes, right? So imagine an apple, and an apple would be the higher self, just to give an example. And if you cut the apple into, let's say, 1,000 slices or more, and that's all my lives.
Mhm.
And my higher self is the sum of all those lives. Whatever I've done, it's understood.
Mhm.
This is the evolution and so on. It gets that understanding. And me in a lifetime is just one part, one tiny, tiny fraction of that apple in
Mm.
this lifetime. And hence, when we connect with the higher self, it feels like, oh, okay, now I have so much knowledge and there's so much expansion. Because when we feel that the guidance is coming in or the intuition is coming in, seems to come from somewhere, might be our higher self, might be other light beings that we are talking through. But that's why it feels like, oh, the field of knowledge is much wider, right?
Mhm.
Now, how do we, so in saying this, how do we connect and really establish our intuition more or just have that channel more? Like, what do I really need to do? So, understand first that your higher self is not separate from you. Yes, you are maybe 1,000 part of the apple, but you are part of the apple. You're one and the same.
Mm.
You're learning something in this lifetime. Your higher self at the same time also needs you. It needs all those 1,000 pieces because each of the 1,000 pieces is going in their own separate lifetimes, doing all the experiences, learning all the stuff, and the higher self is growing with that. So it's not a one-way street of communication. As much as we want a higher or we want to connect with the higher self also wants to connect with us because it wants to really be more in understanding and perhaps work with us closer so that we can actually evolve in the higher direction, right? Like it's not a one way street. Our
Mm.
higher self and all our angelic guides, they actually want to work with us a lot more closely. It's not that I'm asking that, hey, I need help, and they're not wanting. They are actually really waiting.
Yeah.
Like, when are we going to call out? When are we going to say that, hey, connect with me? So, your higher self is an innate part of you. Higher self wants that connection because if we are lost, if we are not connected from our higher self, then we are basically doing our lifetimes again and again. Like we come into a life, and let's say I needed to learn about love and I needed to get rejected because then I would develop more compassion. And then I need to pick myself up and still not be broken from that, but have that whole experience again. If that is my purpose, what I'm supposed to do, then I'll get that experience. But if I just break down when I get treated badly or whenever I feel hurt,
Mhm.
then my trajectory just goes down. Like I'm not learning from it, I'm not evolving from it.
So it will once again repeat so that we truly learn the lesson, right?
Yeah. So, but it's not once again. Sometimes we will actually keep learning the lesson and keep learning the lesson and keep learning the lesson. It's actually called time loops. Like, imagine we think that, oh, in my life, I had this, I really like this person, and then I had a heartbreak, and we think, oh my God, that's terrible. Right. Uh, but think about this, we are so passionately feeling about one heartbreak that we've had in this lifetime. Imagine the amount of times you've taken birth and you've gone through the whole life cycle again, wanting to soak in that lesson. So if we are doing just repeating lives and repeating lives and repeating lives, we're not actually learning the lesson. So our higher self is going like, hey, and that's why sometimes life will give you like a little nudge in between and then give you like a bigger nudge, like if it wants you to learn something, let's say it wants you to learn about losing money. So you might just learn, you might lose a ring. And let's say you lose the ring and you're like, no, 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 I don't like it. And but but your higher self wants you to let go of the attachment and just be okay. Like it's fine. Just trust that.
Mm.
Let's say if we're just caught up and we like, oh, I lost a ring and I lost a ring. And if we just go downhill from there, and the higher self still wants us to learn something,
Mhm.
and they'll do bigger things so that we can learn the unconditional love. We can learn the expansion. We can learn to not get traumatized by it. And so sometimes in the body, it might feel like, oh, they're treating us kindly, or they're not really treating us kindly at all. But it's not coming from that place in terms of punishment, or how people think, hey, it's karmic, so it's really bad. It's not. Karma is not out here to whack you or anything. It is literally that you just learn, just that. And it's not even always that you have to learn and you have to do it the right, so-called right way. It's just that you learn how to really lose. You learn that, oh, you can lose something. If your soul wants to just experience that it's lost a lot of money, it's just going to experience that. And for the soul, that's just that. That's all it wants to do, and then it'll move on to the next thing. But whenever we can't take a lesson, then we end up in the body repeating either that during the life or in other lifetimes. And hence, our higher self really wants to connect with us and have us do the lesson so that then we can move on to the next thing.
Yes, that is fascinating. That is really, really fascinating. Um,
Um,
Mhm.
I think you asked about intuition, and I still haven't answered that. So, in terms of intuition, we are told, that, hey, it's hard. And for various things, this came into place. At some point, as we were babies or kids,
Mhm.
we started trusting we have to trust others around us to tell us what to do, when to get up, how to go to school, how to read, how to write, all of that. And we just gave that whole agency away.
Mhm.
Just connecting with your higher self is literally just trusting more. So every time you are asking someone that, hey, should I do this or that? You're
Mhm.
basically giving your power to someone else to make the right decision. But think about it logically, they actually also don't know how it's going to turn out. So the odds of, them deciding for you or you deciding for yourself, I would bet on you decide for yourself, because you're probably going to make a better decision. Even if they're very, very learned. um, but we always tend to outsource it to someone else because it's just safer. It's just how we've done. But think of all the decisions that you've ever made in your life,
Mhm.
and especially pivotal moments. There is a part in you that tells you that, hey, you're doing the wrong thing. Like you just mentioned that at work, you feel like, oh, I'm not supposed to do this, or I don't want to do this. There is that voice. We silence that voice. And the easiest way to activate your intuition is simply to listen to it. And sometimes you still might not be able to do it because it feels like, oh, I'm going to change my world and rock it. So I'm not going to do that now. I'm scared of the changes. But you could talk to that voice rather than just totally quietening it. You can just talk to that voice and say that, okay, I can't really get out of this relationship right now.
Mhm.
But talk to the voice and ask, what is it that I can do right now? Like, just tell me a little baby step that I can do right now. But have the conversation because your higher self wants you to be connected.
Mm. Ah, really fascinating and also very, very learning at the same time. Also, Kanika, so does energy healing help us in breaking, the cycles or the repeating patterns we talked about, instead of reliving them multiple times, or is it something else?
No, totally. So, energy healing is, in my experience, one of the faster tools that really takes you on an accelerated progress. Because energy healing will look at things at the physical level, emotional level, mental level, and the energetic level. So I think we don't understand the physical level as the body, the mental level as in, what is the shift I'm supposed to make, emotion, the emotional processing of the grief or the pain you might feel, but more so energetically, which a lot of modalities don't always go to. Now, when I explain the energetic body, we are all tied to all these other lifetimes, experiences that we've had. Sometimes when we have hard experiences, we might get scarred at a soul level. We might have some imprints that we've carried at a soul level. For example, an imprint that could be running in a soul could be that um, it is very hard to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And that might not be a belief that is just coming from this lifetime. It might be that you've seen that. You've seen depressions earlier, you've seen war earlier, you've perhaps been a slave yourself. And so it's, you know, it feels that, oh, this is true, that money is very, very hard to make because you've lived that. You've actually had that. So when we work at an energetic level, then we start clearing these imprints. And then there are other things that come at this total energy level as well. So sometimes when we were born, we came in full as a soul and we got scarred because of our experience. So we carried that in that energetic body and take it on. Sometimes there could also be other entities or things that are coming in play, and they might be doing something. For example, that could be around black magic, or sometimes when, um, let me try and think of a tangible example here. Like, when would you think? Sometimes when you just feel like the energy is off, like you just feel that it's not my mindset. You just know it within you that, oh, I want to do this, but you're like, no, there's just something else that is so hard that I cannot go out and break this barrier, that there's something external stopping to me. A lot of times people know that. um, we all are intuitive, we all know that. We might not fully understand it, but we all are aware that I can't do this. But it seems to be not coming from a person. It seems to be not coming from your internal sense, that you feel like, oh, I can never do this. um like
Gut feeling we get.
yes, and a very strong gut feeling, uh which can be much deeper, because that's actually coming from previous lifetimes, or previous influences that have influenced or that have reduced your size energetically. So when you work at the energy healing level, you can clear those imprints, you can clear those interferences from your space, and suddenly you'll find that things have just changed. Like when I work on that with my clients, there's a real difference between now and then. Like, for example, one of my clients, she really wanted to speak up, she wanted to be more authentic, and she knew it. Like, there was nothing in her mindset that was not, it was all good. Like, she knew this is what she wanted to do, her inner parts. So she was not feeling ashamed. She was not feeling worthless. She wasn't holding anything inside her, but we had to work with the punishment energy that she carried around, because there was a previous time where she had been a very outspoken witch. So, one of those outspoken shamans who'd warned of how things would happen, and things turned out that way. And she just saw and she just told what she told, which was the truth at the time. But she was punished for that. And so her soul in this lifetime, or her body in this lifetime, still remembered that. And so she was still fearing, like, oh no, I'm going to be punished if I do that. If I just speak my own voice, I'm going to be punished. But once we cleared that punishment energy, then she could speak up, and it was like, it was just such a difference. Like, the level of authenticity and the level of comfort,
Uh-huh.
just being herself, was just totally different. She had to think twice, thrice before she was saying something, how her message would be coming across, and so on. And after that, it was like, mm-mm, this is it. This is what I'm saying. And funnily enough, like, it's just the energy that stops us. But once that energy was cleared, she wasn't even getting any of that negative feedback that she felt, because that energy was cleared from her space. And we all attract what we have in our space anyway. So once she's cleared that negativity, So even the people who she felt would be judging her or they would question her, they were all supportive. And she just came to me like, I can't believe everybody's just so encouraging. And I felt I would be almost ashamed, made to feel like, what am I doing? Especially in her family. She comes from a Catholic family. And it was entirely the opposite.
That's really, really fascinating. Ooh, and also, before we wrap up, I think we are here to touch upon this idea. Some that is the idea of the matrix. I think it isn't just a science fiction. It is a metaphor for the illusion of limitation we live in. Basically, let's say we are programmed to believe certain things about ourselves. Like as we talked about, scarcity or unworthiness, and the feeling of that you are not enough. So, how do you suggest to break free from this matrix? About changing maybe, or just as you talked about, healing our energy and breaking free from all the shackles, and coming out completely, authentic, raw.
Yeah. So the matrix, and I'm a clairvoyant, so I just see energy. That's what I teach my students and clients to do as well. How I see that is literally it's an energetic field around us. Think of it like a metro map, except also imagine that there are lots of wires and lines carrying lots of codes that are running through you, across you, like there's a proper grid.
Yes.
And uh, not all of this is bad because there's energy that's coming into us, like we are drawing energy, for example, from the earth, from the sun. We are getting our life energy as well, just to live every day from the food, but also from these outside sources. So there's, or the intuition when that travels, when the guidance, when our higher self connects to us. So we're also getting connected with all of that. So we're all connected. And then there are also other programs that are running off this. So there would be a program, for example, for some people, it could be, I am worthless, or other people, it could be, well, I am blessed.
Mm.
And all these wires around us, they carry all of these different programs. So, literally, when you change the energy around, what you are doing is you are rewiring all these cords around you to have that positive belief, that empowering belief that you want to have rather than a limit that was written at some point in time. So,
Mhm.
the way to break away from the matrix, well, to some extent, the matrix is the Earth's energetic field. So till the time you are on Earth, it is a 3D reality. You have to be here, and we all are in the matrix. But you can be in the matrix and you can still live in a way that is not as affected by the matrix. Now, matrix has certain programming to it. For example, there is a programming of scarcity, like money is scarce, or something is very finite.
Mhm.
The funny thing though is that none of this is actually true. Because if you said, for example, that money is limited or there's recession, people are not getting a good job right now, whatever your limiting scarce belief is telling you,
Mhm.
whatever that is, you would find an opposite of that in the
Mhm.
same country, like, very similar. You'll be able to find people living something else. If there is money that is very scarce for someone, you would find people who are just filthy rich. If you think that money is very hard to make, you would find people who just find it really, really easy to make money. So it is just a fallacy that we have, but the matrix is just programmed with that. And if you want to live not within those limits, but open that and live that, then first identify those beliefs, identify what are your limits. And for that, start noticing how your life is working.
Mm.
Because here's the fascinating thing. This is such a precise mathematical world that your world outside, your physical reality is always presenting to you whatever is happening inside you. So if you are feeling that people around you are not moving, like, someone you're getting very disturbed with your partner because they are not making a shift somewhere, they're stuck in their spot, you feel that they're not progressing enough. I'm asking you to take a look inside and what's happening. Um, if you are feeling that your child's really getting on your toes and really wanting attention all the time, look inside. Where do you want attention? Where do you want to be seen? Where is it that you are hiding yourself? So start looking at each of these parts
Mhm.
of you. Start looking at the limits. That's first to identify, okay, this is what I have to clear. And then you can start doing it one by one. So you talk to your mental body and you tell it. So let's say, and you talk to every belief one by one. So let's say if you were saying, oh, money is very hard to make, then you have to think of maybe just even one person because your mental body just needs logic. And you say, okay, where does my body, who is someone who's actually made something, done something very easy? Where, and that would be easy to find, just a living, breathing example around you. Someone either you know or someone you read about in the news or on a podcast. That's okay, but just know that one person that helps with your mental body. Then you have to talk to your emotional body. An emotional body would be just dealing with the emotions and the feelings. So, the times when you felt lack of money, the times where you felt that money's been hard, how have you felt? And sitting down with that child part of you and working with that. And often it's simply forgiveness and compassion for yourself.
Mhm.
Most of the times it's not beyond that because you have to forgive yourself where there were things where you could not do something because you did not have enough money. But just sitting with yourself, forgiving yourself, there's just deeper fears that we all hold there, just dealing with that. And then energetically, you just imagine, which is what I do in all my energy healing sessions, is I just teach people how to run their energy. So as much as we have these limits or limiting energies around us, we also have life giving energies. Sun and the earth, they're available to everyone, infinite sources of energy, but just connect with the earth because automatically she can take away the negative energies that we have inside us. So she can already start cleaning that.
Mm.
With the sun, you can call in the high vibration energy that really brings your empowering belief.
Mhm.
I do run an energy live session as well, where I do this all the time with people. It's an interactive session, it's free, and I do it on a regular basis so that people can come and play with energy themselves.
Oh.
And that is, you can just check out that link at artoflifecenter.com/live. That will give a link to my live session where I teach people to do this. But that's where you come in. You just run the energy, and I take you step by step so that you're able to get over, walk away feeling a lot lighter, feeling a lot more empowered.
Yeah.
I just think I need to do a little bit more justice and do a proper session if I, because I've explained the theory, but I think theoretically it makes sort of sense. But it's the real fun is literally just in doing a practical session and noticing that change for yourself.
Of course. Sometimes it becomes, it doesn't completely justify to explain everything in words. I think it's more of when you experience it, see it, and live through it, it becomes much more powerful and prominent to you. So, of course, I would encourage all of our listeners to try it out. And Kanika, before we wrap up, if our listeners would wish to connect with you as well, how we can do that?
They can reach out to me at Kanika Energy Coach. So I've got this handle on Instagram, Kanika Energy Coach, or on LinkedIn as well. And just connect with me on the website, artoflifecenter.com. That is CENTER, artoflifecenter.com. I am usually holding a lot of free live healing sessions because I want to show everyone to play with energy, to just heal energy real time. These are real time sessions where I work with you, and then together we clear away the limits in your space and you leave feeling empowered, feeling lighter, feeling more in charge of your life.
Beautiful, beautiful. So we'll have the details mentioned in the show notes. And Kanika, thank you so much. I think this conversation has been beyond enlightening. And you have given us such a powerful perspective or lens to, view life, death, energy, and also the unseen forces shaping our experience, our existence. So thank you so much once again.
Thanks a lot, Sana. It was such a pleasure to be on the show.
And to all of our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey through the cosmos. So, if today's conversation has connected with you, be sure to connect with Kanika and check out her free energy healing live sessions, and also share this episode with your loved ones, your friends, your colleagues, and also leave us a review. Let us know how we are doing. And I would just like to mention that the reality you see is just one layer of the infinite possibilities available to you. So until next time, keep exploring, keep expanding, and keep aligning with your highest self. Thank you.